first goal of the year goes for the Raiders.
Oh, beautiful shot there. Nicely done. Gets the pin.
Oh, was that beautiful? Onside kick, and it's recovered by Hastings.
And he's rung up for strike 3.
Doblawi! Touchdown Raiders!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Minnesota State High School League Swimming and Diving here in Hastings, Minnesota. My name is Peter Heyman, and I'll be assisted by Julie Urban, delivering all the action today by way of HCTV Sports here at the Hastings Middle School. Tonight's matchup is between the hometown Hastings Raiders and the visiting North St. Paul Polars. Both teams hail out of the Metro East Conference. The Polars are 0-3 in the conference with no non-conference meets, while the Raiders are 2-1. And they've beaten Tartan and Hill Murray the last 2 weeks, and they lost against Two Rivers on August 31st. The Raiders are coached by Katie McAlpin, Joe Haas, Brianna Arness, and Dylan Anderson, while the Polars are coached by Tess Behrens, Carmen Kivel, and Tim Baden. Julie, you've seen the Raiders swim team here. What can you tell us about their team?
They have a strong team. There are a number of seniors that have been swimmers, off season as well, off season through a club, and so they have some strong swimmers. I do not know how close the meet was between Two Rivers and Hastings. My guess it was very close and one of their stronger rivals in the conference.
Thank you for that, Julie. And so what we're seeing on TV right now, this is the JV team, correct?
Nope. So this is the varsity 200 medley relay. So each swimmer swims a 50 down and back of each stroke, starting with backstroke, butterfly, breaststroke, and freestyle. And this is varsity. The Polars have 11 swimmers on their team. So tonight we will not always have a varsity and a JV heat of everything.
Okay, thank you for that.
So in lane 1 for Hastings is Lauren Jenkins, Emma Leonard, Josie Larson, and Caden Butler. For the Polars in lane 2, Autumn Wiggins, Abigail Schiffler, Ella Auburn, and London Kivel. I know the names I'm probably butchering them. We're doing our best. In lane 3 for Hastings, Ashton Stewart, Ellie Cook, Chloe Arness, and Emma Demlo. In lane 4 for the Polars are Sydney Hoffman, Sarah Cook, Autumn Clem, Natalie Morrison. In lane 5, Lauren Baudette, Clara Birkin, Lila Saltzman, and Eliana Latch. In Hastings, lane 6 is Maddie Ritter, Greta Larson, Mary Schulk, and Fiona Olson. So this is the third swimmer, butterfly. Hastings, if you're looking at the top of your screen, just for reference, lane 1 is at the top of your screen and lane 6 is at the bottom. And it looks like the final swimmers for freestyle are entering the water in most of the lanes.
And it looks like lane 3 is in the lead.
Lane 3, swimmer number 4, Emma Demlo, freestyle. Emma, I think she's an 8th grader. A strong swimmer.
She is, in fact, an 8th grader. Well done.
As a young swimmer, I believe she won state in the 50 butterfly for the entire state of Minnesota. So she's got a great history of swimming.
So just for everybody watching, in this relay, the team that takes first gets 8 points, the team that takes second gets 4, and the team that takes third gets 2. And it looks like it was lane 3 came in first with a total time of 2 minutes, 14 seconds, and 73 tenths
of a second.
Lane 5 came in second, and lane 1 came in third.
So those are the Hastings. It looks like actually Hastings had 4 lanes of relays. So in general tonight, Hastings will be in lanes 1, 3, and 5. And the North St. Paul will be in lanes 2, 4, and 6. So this is the final swimmer. This is London Keevil for North St. Paul in lane 2.
So unless there's any disqualifications, is it safe to say that Hastings will get 14 points after this first event?
Correct.
Okay.
You did some great math there.
Good thing I went to Hastings to learn this great math. And the Catholic school. I did go to middle school at the Catholic school. And Kennedy Elementary. But now I've heard that Kennedy is for the in-town students, not the country students. Not sure how well you know.
I have a senior, and so I did not know that. I know that it has switched over the years from in-town, out of town, and a lot of it was due to busing. So up next is the 200-yard freestyle. That is 8 lengths of freestyle. It does look like we have a JV heat and a varsity heat. So this is the JV heat with 3 swimmers.
I will announce those swimmers if you don't mind.
No.
Okay, in lane 1, it'll be Lily Meyer, who is actually the daughter of my best friend, Tim Meyer. Lane 3 will be Liliana Burks, and lane 5 will be Stella Hilgers. They are all out of the Hastings school. So just correct me if I'm wrong, this will not count for any scoring in tonight's official scoring.
Not scoring points for the team.
So just for the viewers, what is the purpose of these girls swimming right now with the varsity?
So these girls are these are likely varsity swimmers that tonight are put in maybe not their best event and maybe something they have not swam a lot, and have a chance to swim it, get it kind of used to it. Swimming races, whether it's a 50 or a 500 or a mile or a 2, they all have their technique. And so a 200, to be honest, is really still considered a sprint. It's kind of a brutal race because it is supposed to be all out. And 8 lengths all out is a tough swim. So here we have in lane 5, who looks like she's pulling away a little bit, is Stella Hilgers.
Okay. And it is the freestyle, which technically a
Is the
swimmer
front
can do
crawl.
anything they want.
Correct.
Now, I have heard if they do something different than a normal freestyle, they're supposed to tell or ask the official. I don't know how well you know that, but
I would tell you that, yes, they should notify the official. And really the only thing that they cannot do is touch the bottom.
okay.
So in one sense, yes, they could really do freestyle as freestyle. Some of us know it as front crawl.
Okay.
Freestyle is, for most swimmers, the fastest of the 4 strokes. So if you were racing and you really wanted to race well, you would stick with freestyle.
Correct, okay. So it looks like Stella is still in the lead, and
a close race.
Lily and Liliana are pretty much head-to-head or nose-to-nose or palm-to-palm, however you want to say it.
So they have one more 150 left.
Okay. Now tell us, do you have a swimming background, Julie?
I am a mother of a swimmer, and
Okay.
I did a little swimming as a very, very young kid, and now I actually do swim as an adult with the master's program here in Hastings. So I was in this pool this morning. It was pretty chilly at 6 a.m., but swimmers actually like it a little bit cold because they don't get so hot. Still a really close race between Lily and Liliana in lanes 1 and 3. And it looks like Liliana is going to out-touch her teammate.
So I now see the times coming up on the scoreboard.
2:27.
2:27 for Stella.
2:37 and 2:39. So really close there in lanes 1 and 3. And this will be the varsity 200.
So we're going to see the same thing, except now we're going to have actually 5 lanes of swimmers, 3 Hastings girls and 2 North St. Paul. Lane 1, it'll be Mary Schalk. Lane 2, it'll be Alice Taube from North St. Paul. Lane 3 will be Maddie Ritter from Hastings. Lane 4, Sarah Cook from North St. Paul. And lane 5, Elena Latch from Hastings.
So just for reference, I always think it's interesting to know the pool record for girls is a 1:54, so just under 2 minutes, which is a really fast 200. time for Hastings, the school record is a 1:53.10. So that's a really fast 200. Again, it looks like a really great start and close between the Hastings swimmers in lanes 1. That's Mary Schulk and Maddie Ritter in lane 2, or excuse me, lane 3.
I see on our little brochure here that 155.90 is the state qualifier for AA.
Correct.
Can you explain that?
So the state meet has, if you're at sections, comes to the end of the season, you're at sections, you have to either place first or second to qualify for state or get a state cut time. And it has to be, the state cut has to be, I don't know if I say this correctly, that it has to be that night at the section meet. Because I believe that I know someone who got it at section prelims and it did not count.
Okay.
So there is a state cut, but for instance, if one of these swimmers got a state cut tonight, does not mean they're going to state.
Okay. So is this kind of similar in the Olympics when you see the first couple get the cue when they finish, and then you'll have that third person, they get
automatic
to race
qualifying
again.
spots in prelims and finals.
Okay.
Yes. And, you know, these dual meets during the year do not have prelims finals, but when it comes to sections, they have section prelims, and then, which is usually the top 8, then qualify, or is it 16? Golly, you'd think I know. I've watched a few of them.
So just for the TV viewers, looks like lane 1 is in the lead. That's Mary Schulk. And if we are pronouncing any names wrong and you're watching, you should be able to go to the HCTV YouTube channel and put it in the chat, and that message may get relayed to us, and we will fix it. So we apologize.
Do our very best. Maddie Ritter for Hastings in lane 3 is swimming well, and followed by, I believe, Liliana Latch for Hastings in lane 5, and then Alice for North St. Paul in lane 2. So 2:27, 2:33, the two finishers, top finishers for Hastings.
So you, just by seeing those results, Julie, you can see how quick Katie Jansen and Katie Scarcella did to get these records in this pool.
Those are
by over
times.
More than 30 seconds they beat these swimmers by.
And those records have been up there. I mean, 2007, that's a long-standing record. Nice swim, ladies. So next is the 200 IM. One of my favorite races. IMs are fun. It's an IM stands for individual medley. So the swimmer does all 4 strokes. They start with backstroke. They start in the water with backstroke, then butterfly, breaststroke, and freestyle. So this JV heat again is 3 Hastings swimmers. We have Mari Hall in lane 1, Emma Demlow in lane 5, and Greta Larson. Excuse me, Emma Demlow in lane 3 and Greta Larson in lane 5. And I screwed up. I was thinking the relay. Unlike the relay, in the individual medley, you start with butterfly.
Okay.
Butterfly, then backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle.
So my friend and his wife were correct when they gave me the medley
They did,
order.
and the medley relay, the medley individual, butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle. The relay is backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, free. I apologize.
That's okay.
And the individual medley is where a swimmer can, there's a lot of rules in swimming as far as when you can touch the wall, how you touch the wall, when you can flip over, how you flip over, how many strokes you can take. And right now, as we watch Emma come into the wall in lane 3, she has to hit the wall on her back, then with one hand, then she doesn't do a flip turn. From back to breast is not a flip turn, it's an open turn. But you'll see when she gets to the wall here at the end, swimmers have to touch with both hands.
Okay, so it's definitely technical.
It is, and It's easy to forget for a swimmer if they're new, and there is actually a lot of technique. Right now you're seeing the swimmers do the breaststroke. In the swimming world, the IM usually is won or lost in the breaststroke because it actually is the most technical stroke to put together.
Okay.
Technically challenging. And sometimes for those of us who may not compete swimming and are just swimming for fun, the breaststroke is like, hey, I don't have to put my face in. I don't have to, I can just, it's a rest. A little bit of a rest.
Right.
Competitively, it's very challenging.
So you mentioned they have to touch the walls with specific ways. What if they did not? Would they be disqualified or get a 10-second penalty?
No, it's disqualification.
Automatic, okay.
Usually you would see a ref's hand come up, arm come up to say, if you mentioned watching the Olympics. At the Olympics, they will have a referee in every lane watching that very specific swimmer for that specific event. Here, you have a starter and a referee who walk up and down and are watching very carefully. Obviously, a different level of swimming and competition.
Okay, thank you for that. I do see like you said, we only have 2 refs, so just want to give a shout out to all our referees in all sports for doing this.
Absolutely.
Because without this, there'd be
no
official
sport.
score. So it looks like in lane 3, it was Emma Demlo coming in first at 2:28.91, followed by Mari Hall and then Greta Larson.
And a 2:28 is a really nice swim. That's a great swim for Emma. Looks for the varsity. We have 4 swimmers. Emma Leonard from Hastings in lane 1, Kira Arness from Hastings in lane 3, Autumn Clem from North St. Paul in lane 4, and Chloe Arness, yes, they're sisters, in lane 5.
I'll just throw this out there. Most people probably know that are Hastings swim fans, but Chloe Arness and Kira Arness are the daughter of Brianna Arness, one of the coaches, also known as, in high school when I went with her, her name was Brianna Featherstone.
Whose name is still on the...
It is still now. Unfortunately, I have heard that her daughter actually broke her record, and until they put the new banner up, it won't be down. And I have heard from an unnamed source, she cannot wait till her name gets off that board.
I would agree.
But it is quite fitting that it was her own daughter that broke her own record.
And that would be her daughter, Chloe. Chloe is the diver. Kira, they're both great swimmers. Kira spends more time swimming. She just did the butterfly and the backstroke. She has a great fly, a really solid IM swimmer because she has 4 really solid strokes. Very smooth.
And this is the breaststroke, like you mentioned. Right? There's 2 hands touching, like you said.
Open turns.
So when you say open,
they're not flipping over.
Okay.
So why would that be called open and not? Who knows? But that's what it's called. It's an open turn. And swimmers could choose to always do an open turn. They wouldn't have to do a flip turn, but it is way more efficient to do a flip turn when the rules allow.
So in lane 3, that's Kira Arness. She's now doing the freestyle stroke, which tells me she's on her very last 50 meters.
Yes, this is her last 25 to home.
Now it's 25 going home.
And up in lane 1, that is Emma Leonard for Hastings, has the 50 free left, as well as Autumn Clem for North St. Paul.
So if I'm looking correctly, the time on the board says 2:10.58. And the girls' pool record was 2:10.53.
So Kira's time is a 2:19.
Okay.
Great swim. When the swimmers touch the wall, just a little note on the scoreboard, when the swimmers touch the pad on the end with the start, the time that they...
That's the last time they touch the wall is what the time represents. I got you.
I'm so glad you figured that out, because I did not get those words out.
That's okay.
And then eventually, yes, the time comes up. So That is a great swim.
So Kira came in with 2:19.17, followed by her sister, Chloe, at 2:33.23. And in third place, Emma Leonard at 2:48.25. So once again, Hastings takes first, second, and third. And the total score was just up there. I think it said 25-4 in favor of the Raiders. We'll see if we get it up there again.
So we're going to switch gears to the 50 freestyle. The fastest, shortest swim in any swimming competition, to be honest, is the 50. So it's down and back, 50 freestylers. If I remember correctly, the world record for men, which I don't, is about 18 seconds, which is really, really, really fast.
That's 9 seconds, or 15 seconds, you said?
18.
So that's 9 seconds each way.
And I do not believe they breathe.
Okay. This is also almost like the 50-meter dash and sprinting.
Correct.
Like that's the one everybody watches.
Yep.
Usain Bolt.
Right. The 50 free. So this is JV. There's 6 swimmers. Caden Butler is in lane 1 for Hastings. London Kivel in lane 2 for North St. Paul. Fiona Olsen for Hastings in lane 3. Ash Andres for North St. Paul in lane 4. Carly Gittner for Hastings in lane 5. And Autumn Wiggins for North St. Paul in lane 6. This is a JV heat of the 50 free.
So just for the viewers that can't see the record scoreboard, the record in this pool is 24-13 by R. Hathaway from Lakeville South. And from Hastings, it was Kelsey Gergen at 23-32 in 2006. And the time for the best swimmer on this heat was a time of 36:64, and that was Miss Carly Gintner from Hastings. And in lane 3, Fiona Olsen had a time of 39:76. Well done, ladies.
Some of the times, if you're looking and you're wondering, well, was there not a swimmer in 2 or 6? The timing pads are sensitive, and so if a swimmer doesn't necessarily really nail that pad with their hand, maybe their elbow, or maybe they were off, it's possible to have missed. That can happen. So if you see at the end of the pool, there are timers with stopwatches, and another a timing, we call it a plunger, that's also connected to the wall timer. So there are 3 ways of getting the correct time. So this is the JV 50 free. As I said, JV. It's varsity.
This is varsity,
50 free.
right.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay. So in lane 1 is Peyton Combs, lane 2 is Ella Amborn, lane 3 is Clara Birkin, lane 4 is Siri Johnson, lane 5 is Lauren Baudet, and lane 6 is Natalie Morrison. And in the lead, it's lane 3, Clara Birkin out of Hastings, putting up a pretty good time, 27:28.
27.99. She is a senior captain for the Hastings Raiders.
Yeah, that's good to know who our seniors are. In fact, other seniors are Lauren Jenkins and Ashton Stewart, and all 3 are captains.
And all 3 have been swimming a long time.
So you mentioned the timers. I was here a couple weekends ago for the Hastings Invitational, and I did see where when the scoreboard didn't work, the official scorekeeper had the timers come over there, tell them the time, and then they input it in the system.
Yep.
So I want to give a shout out to all the timers out there. I don't know everybody's name, but I do want to give a shout out to Tim and Carrie Meyer, the parents of Lily Meyer, who's also here. So.
It's a fun thing to do. Timing is fun because you have a front row seat and you get to see everyone and you get to cheer and you're right there, and your feet might get wet, the bottoms of your pants might get a little wet, but it is really fun to be a timer.
I'm glad you said that because I have heard through the grapevine that they need help with timers. So if any parents are out there listening, you can volunteer to help time. Or anybody, maybe you don't even have to be a parent, but
they'll give you a lesson. We're going to take a break before diving, and we will be back for the diving portion of the meet.
It's Peter Heyman and Julie on HCTV.
At Hastings Community TV, we have been telling the story of Hastings since 1983. By supporting HCTV, you are supporting weekly live high school sports coverage, community events, original shows like Take a Hike Mike, Man on the Street, Aprons Optional, and Around the Mic. You are also contributing to coverage for school events, graduation, prom, school board meetings, and the student-run broadcast journalism course, The Echo.
HCTV is your one-stop shop for all things local government. This coverage includes city council and other local government meetings, forums, PSAs, local news packages, and so much more.
HCTV also provides virtual alternatives to in-person viewing for notable events around Hastings. We make all of our content viewable to everyone by putting it on TV, YouTube, Facebook, and our website for on-demand viewing.
With more and more people cutting cable each year, a major source of our funding is continuing to decline. Your support is vital to keeping our small nonprofit sustainable. If you would like to give a donation, you can go to hastingstv.org/donate. To learn about our sponsorship program, where your business will be recognized in our programming, check out hastingstv.org/sponsors.
Push that trash that way, not this way. Come on.
Oh, hey there. Do you like HCTV?
That's one small step for Hastings and one giant leap for community television.
Do you want a custom video that promotes your business or organization and gives you the results you're looking for? As an HCTV sponsor, our staff will work with your business or organization to create a custom video to promote your brand. You also have an option of getting a shout out in every sporting event we cover. And that's 3 points for your business. So support HCTV today! Go to hastingstv.org/sponsors for more information or to give a one-time donation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hastings swimming and diving meet against North St. Paul. Currently, Hastings has a 51-9 lead. We are now entering the diving part of the competition. There will be 6 dives for each diver, and leading off was Ellie Cook, an exhibition dive. She did a 101C dive with a 1.2 difficulty, which consists of a forward dive and a tuck. Next up will be Carly Gintner. She's also doing an exhibition dive. She's from Hastings. She'll be doing a 51-21 dive, which is a forward one somersault, a half twist, and free. That had a 1.7 difficulty.
In the world of diving, if you're just joining us,
and I will let you know that there's 3 judges. It looks like tonight it's the Hastings coach, Brianna Arness, and the 2 officials. Diving now is Blessing Muholeza from North St. Paul. She just did a 101C, which is the forward dive tuck. And hopefully you can see the judges on TV. Their scores, yes you can. And we'll try to read them off as well. Next up is from Hastings, Peyton Combs. She's doing a 51-21, has a 1.7 difficulty. It's a forward 1 somersault, half twist, free.
so scores.
Her scores were 3.5, 4, 3.5.
I was going to say earlier that in diving, in order to go head first into the water during somersaults, you do have to do 1.5. So a full rotation you enter with your feet, so 1.5. So a 2.5 or a 2.
Thank you, Julie. Now diving was Sophia Kovalenko from Hastings. She did a 51-21 forward 1 somersault, half twist, free. And her scores are 3.3 and 2.5. Next up will be Izzy Green from Hastings. She's doing a 51-21 dive. Has a difficulty of 1.7. It's a forward 1 somersault, half twist, followed by free. And she's going to get a no score there. The coach and the officials looked at each other and gave a no score signal.
The no score is because technically Izzy did not complete her twist, and so she did not complete the dive. So Izzy is a new diver trying it out, which is an awesome thing that they have the opportunity to do that. And sometimes if a diver's trying a new dive, they might not fully complete the dive, and thus they do not get a score.
Thank you for that. Next up we have Mary Hall from Hastings doing a 1.7 52-21. It's a back, 1 somersault, half twist, and free. And her scores are 4, 5.5, and 6. Next up, and your second to last diver for round 1 is Greta Larson from Hastings. She's going to do the same dive we just saw, the 52-21, 1.7 difficulty. Starting back with a 1 somersault, half twist, and free. Her scores are 4, 5, and 4. And the last diver of round 1 is going to be Chloe Arness. She'll be doing the most difficulty of all the divers so far, 1.8. It's a 52-31D, which is a back 1.5 somersault, followed by a half twist, and then free. Her scores are 5.5, 6.5, 7. So that is the end of round 1. We'll move on to round 2.
And round 2 begins with Ellie Cook, Hastings Raider exhibition diver tonight. She is doing dive 201A. It's a back dive in the straight position. So when we say free or straight or tuck or pike, that is the position of the body as it goes through the dive. So straight was trying to be as straight as could be. And this is Carly Gintner from Hastings. She's doing dive 101C. Degree of difficulty is a 1.2. It's a forward dive in the tuck position. So you can see her tuck her knees and enter the water. Scores 4, 5, and 4.5. Blessing from North St. Paul is up. She is doing the 102C dive, forward 1 somersault in the tuck position.
Blessing is a junior.
She scores a 3.5, a 4, and a 3. Peyton Combs from Hastings is the next diver. She's doing a 103C, which is a forward 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Degree of difficulty is a 1.6.
Yep. 103C, forward 1.5 somersault, tuck 1.6.
Scores are 4, 5, 4.5. Sophia Kovalenko is next for Hastings, doing dive 102C, which is a forward 1 somersault tuck position and a degree of difficulty of a 1.4. Divers need it very quiet as they concentrate and try to, figure out how to twist and turn in the air. Scores for Sophia are 3, 4, and 3.5. Izzy Green is the next diver. She is doing a 102, the same dive, 102C, forward 1 somersault tuck position, 1.4 degree of difficulty. Scores 3.5, 4, and a 4. Mari Hall is next for the Hastings Raiders. She's doing dive 5222D, a back 1 somersault with 1 twist in the free position with a 1.9 degree of difficulty. Scores are 5, 5, and 5.5. Greta Larson from Hastings is next. She will do dive 5231D. It's a back 1.5 somersault with a half twist in the free position, and the degree of difficulty is a 2.1. Fully rotated, 6.5, 6, and 5 scores for Greta. Chloe Larson will complete round 2 with a dive 104C, forward 2 somersaults, tuck position, 2.2 degree of difficulty. So you might be wondering what judges look for. That's a 5, 5, and 5 for Chloe, and that ends round 2. Judges look for how the diver is positioned in the air and how they enter the water. So the best divers in the world enter with almost 0 splash. So very, very little water in a very, very straight and upright position. So those are the kind of things the diving judges are looking for.
We are now entering round 3. That was Carly Ginter, an exhibition dive from Hastings. That was a 102B dive with a 1.5 difficulty. It consisted of a forward 1 somersault and then followed by a pike. Next up from North St. Paul will be Blessing Muhuleza. She's doing a 201 alpha, which is a 1.7 difficulty, consists of a back dive followed by a straight. And her scores were 3, 3, and 3. There's some 3.5s in there. Next up is Peyton Combs from Hastings.
She's a freshman. I think that's what you're looking for.
I am looking for that. And there she is. Yeah, she's a freshman. She'll be doing a 201 alpha, the same dive that Blessing just did. The back dive followed by the straight. Her scores are 3.5, 4.5, and a 4. Next up is Sophia Kovalenko from Hastings. She'll be doing a 103 Charlie dive. Has a 1.6 difficulty. Starts with a forward 1.5 somersault followed by the tuck. Just a reminder, this will consist of 6 rounds of diving. She had scores of 4.5, 3.5, and a 4. Next up will be Izzy Green from Hastings. She'll be doing the same dive, the 103 Charlie. Forward 1.5 somersault followed by the tuck. Izzy Green is a junior. Her scores are 4, 4, and 4. Next up will be Marie Hall from Hastings. She'll be doing the 104 Charlie. This has a difficulty of 2.2. It'll be a forward 2 somersaults followed by the tuck. Once again, we appreciate the quietness in the pool. If you don't hear any noise in the background, we want the divers to have as much concentration as they can. And her scores are 5, 4.5, and a 5.5. Next up will be Greta Larson. She'll be doing a 52-23 Delta. That has a 2.3 difficulty, consists of a back, 1 somersault, 1.5 twist, and then free. Good dive there. The scores are 5.5, a 5, and a 5.5. And closing up round number 3 will be Chloe Arness from Hastings, also doing the 52-23 Delta. 2.3 difficulty, a back, 1 somersault, 1.5 twist, followed by the free entry. Nice and smooth. Not a lot of splash there. Scores should be good. And they are. They're the best of the night. A 7, a 6.5, and a 6.5 for Chloe Arness. Just so you know, the record here for Hastings is Annika Tverberg with a 236.1 in 2020. Moving on to round 4.
Round 4, we have Carly Gittner doing a 201A, which is a back dive straight position. Degree of difficulty is a 1.7. Scores for Carly, 3.5, 3.5, and 3.5. Blessing Moholeza from North St. Paul is doing dive 51-21D. It's a forward 1 somersault with a half twist in the free position, 1.7 degree of difficulty. Scores for Blessing, 4, 3.5, and a 4. Diving has a combination of scores from the 3 judges and the numerical scores they give, but also there's a mathematical, algorithm or computation of the degree of difficulty with the score that the judges give. And so at the end, those are tallied up. This is Peyton Combs from Hastings doing dive 202C. It's a back dive, 1 somersault in the tuck position, 1.5 degree of difficulty. Scores for Peyton, 3.5, 4.5, and 4. Sophia Kovalenko from Hastings is next. She's doing dive 401C. An inward dive, tuck position, 1.4 degree of difficulty. In diving, when we announce a dive being a back dive or forward or back, inward, reverse, we haven't had a reverse yet. That is the way that they leave the board. Facing inward. That's a 4.5, 5.5, and 5 for Sophia. Izzy Green is next for Hastings. She's doing the same dive as her teammate Sophia, 401C. Inward dive, tuck position. An inward might be considered one of the scarier dives because they have to go up and back far enough not to smack their forehead on the board. Nicely done, Izzy. That's a 5, 5, and a 4.5.
Speaking of that, what was the dive that Mr. Greg Luganis hit his head on? Was it this or was it something slightly different? Or was he facing inward, I guess I should say, at the start?
He was not facing inward.
Okay.
And if truth be told, I was there when it happened.
Ooh.
I was watching.
Oh, wow.
In Seoul, Korea, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
This is Mari Hall, Hastings Raider, doing dive 201C, back dive in the tuck position. Nice dive, a 6, 6.5, and 6 for Mari.
Up next, Greta, dive 104C, forward 2 somersault tuck, 2.2.
Greta Larson for Hastings is next. She's doing dive 104C.
So
Forward dive, 2 somersaults, tuck position, degree of difficulty is a 2.2.
So I notice sometimes when divers go up, they use their foot and they adjust the
circle
thing down there,
which is a good old physics principle of the fulcrum, and really changes the responsiveness of the board. Maybe someone would say the bounciness, either way. And each diver for each particular dive has a place that they like it.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
This is Greta. No, I'm wrong. This is Chloe. She's doing dive 203B, a back 1.5 somersault pike position with a degree of difficulty of a 2.3 and scores a 7, a 6.5, and a 7. And that completes round 4. We'll move on to round 5.
Round 5 will start with Peyton Combs from Hastings. She'll be doing a 5-2-2-1D, 1.7 difficulty. Starts from the back, then 1 somersault, half twist, and enter free. Peyton, once again, one of the freshmen for the Raiders. And looks like there's going to be no score for that dive, so she did not complete all the abilities of that dive. Next up will be Sophia Kovalenko, also from Hastings. She'll be doing a 202 Charlie, 1.5 difficulty, starting from the back, 1 somersault, ending with the tuck. Sophia, also a freshman. Raiders have a somewhat young squad, only 3 seniors. Once again, it's the 2 judges scoring along with the Hastings Raiders. One of the coaches, that's Brianna Arness. She also has to score 2 of her daughters as they do this. Has to try to remain neutral. She might be a little more strict on her daughters, if I'm honest. Next up is Izzy Green, also doing the 202 Charlie. Starting from the back, 1 somersault in the tuck. And her scores will be a 3.5, 3.5, and a 3. Next up is diver number 7, Marie Hall from Hastings, doing a 401 Bravo, has a 1.5 difficulty. It's an inward dive followed by the pike. As Julie said, this could be a little scarier one because they can see the board and they have to get out far enough.
Nicely done, Mark.
Nice, yep, not much of a splash. That's going to get good scores. A 6, 6.5, and an 8. An 8 with our highest individual score tonight so far. Next up, Greta Larson doing the 201 Alpha, which is a back dive followed by the straight entry. It's a 1.7 difficulty. Greta, also another freshman. Greta earned herself scores of 5.5, 6, and a 6. And the final diver of round number 5 will be Chloe Arness. She'll be doing the 403 Charlie. It's a 2.2 difficulty, starting with an inward 1.5 somersault followed by the tuck. Pretty good dive there. She's got all 7s. 777. If you're a gambler, head to the casino. Chloe just won the jackpot. And that'll round up round 5, sorry.
Moving into round 6. If you've noticed, as the rounds have gone, we have fewer divers, as the exhibition divers maybe just did 2, 3, or 4 of the dives of the 6 of them. So first diver up is Peyton Combs from Hastings. She's doing dive 401C, inward dive, tuck position, 1.4 degree of difficulty. Nicely done, Peyton. 5, 6, and 5.5.
Is that a 5 or 5, 6, 5.5?
Sophia Kovalenko from Hastings is the next diver. She will be doing dive 5221D, back 1 somersault, half twist in the free position, 1.7.
So you mentioned not all divers doing all the dives. That could make scoring quite interesting then towards the end of the diving anyways.
Sophia did not complete that dive, so she does not get a score on that. Izzy Green is the next diver from Hastings, and she's doing the same dive. 5221D, back 1 somersault, a half twist.
Just for the viewers out there, you can see glimpses of the scoreboard as the divers are going. The score doesn't change because they wait till all the divers are done, do all the calculations, then they'll give the proper points to each team.
It appears as if she completed it. 4.5, 4, and 4 for Izzy Green. Mari Hall is next for Hastings, dive 403C, inward 1.5 somersault tuck position, a 2.2 degree of difficulty.
Julie, not sure if you've ever dove in school, but this can't be easy with it dead silent. You're a teenage girl. Everybody's watching you. There's a lot of pressure here.
That's a lot of pressure, lots of concentration. I have never done any diving except into the water for fun.
Same here.
Nicely done. Scores for Mari, 7.5, 6, and 7.5.
Dive 403C, inward 1.5 somersault tuck, 2.2.
This is Greta Larson doing the same dive, 403C. Scores for Greta, 6, 5, and 6. And our last diver of this round and the last dive of the night is Chloe Arness. She's doing 5132D, which is a forward 1.5 somersault with 1 full twist in the free position, a 2.2 degree of difficulty. Eight, 7, and 7.5 are the scores for Chloe. That wraps up the diving portion of this meet. We will take a break, but before then...
Before we take our break, I want to give you our upcoming broadcast. Next week, girls swimming and diving will be here against Matamidi. And then next Friday, it's homecoming for the football team against Cretan Durham Hall. And then October 3rd, the soccer team will have a doubleheader against South St. Paul. And we'll take a little break, get the pool set back up, and we'll finish off the swimming part of this swim meet.
Welcome back to the Hastings Middle School. We have the Hastings Raiders swim and dive meet versus the North St. Paul Polars.
Just want to give you guys a little update. Before we get to the swimming and diving, I'm going to give you an update on the Hastings football. Cade Kim has started the game running the kickoff back for a touchdown for the Raiders. So good job there. They're playing against Bloomington Jefferson. For the swimming and diving, Hastings now has a total score of 64-9 to North St. Paul.
And this is the JV heat of the 100 butterfly. So 4 lengths of butterfly. This is 3 swimmers from Hastings: Lily Meyer in lane 1, Lauren Jenkins in lane 3, and Emma Demlow in lane 5. And it's going to be a close race between Emma and Lauren. They're coming up to the first 50. Touch the wall, 2 hands, open turn. Swimmers really work on their underwaters because the farther you can get underwater is more efficient.
Less current, less going against you underwater, yes.
Just less butterfly strokes. Butterfly is pretty grueling, full body workout.
So when you're underwater, you can freestyle basically, and then once you get to the top, you have to butterfly.
No,
or you
underwater,
have to dolphin.
Yes, dolphin kicks underwater, and you can only go so far.
Oh, really? How far, do you know? Halfway?
To the silver pole.
Okay.
From each.
Now, under the water, though, how do the swimmers really know? Do they have to look to the side, or is there like a line on the bottom of the pool?
There's not a line on the bottom of the pool.
Okay, so they kind of have to, they just kind of know by how many
they
dolphin
know,
things.
Definitely, and they, upper level swimmers know, and they push the limits as far as they possibly can. And we're going to move to heat 2, which is the varsity 100 butterfly. So Lauren Jenkins in lane 3 won that for Hastings, and was Emma Demlow and Lily Meyer. Lauren's time was a 106.09. We have a full pool for the varsity butterfly. We have Lila Saltzman in lane 1 for Hastings, Siri Johnson in lane 2 for North St. Paul, Ashton Stewart in lane 3 for Hastings, Sydney Hoffman for North St. Paul in lane 4, Mary Schulk for Hastings in lane 5, and Alice Tabe for North St. Paul in lane 6.
Before we start that race, I'm going to give you the results of the diving, the 6 dive. In third place was Mari Hall at 193.50. In second place was Greta Larson at 194.70. And first place with a new school record, Chloe Arness with a 236.05. The previous record was 236.1, so she only beat it by 0.05.
Nicely done.
That's why the tenths are and the hundredths are very important in swimming.
So it looked like Ashton Stewart and Lila Saltzman touched the wall at just about the same time for Hastings. Lila up in lane 1 and Ashton in lane 3.
So this is the famous butterfly, the one that Michael Phelps was very good at, correct?
Right, Michael Phelps was a fantastic butterfly. Amazing arms. Again, Lila and Ashton about touching dead even as they turn for home. Let's see who has a little more kick left. And another really close race for third and fourth in lanes 4 and 5 between Sydney and Mary. I think Ashton might just out-touch Lila. With a time of a 104.16.
That was Mary Schulk coming in third in lane 5. Lane 4, that's Sydney Hoffman from North St. Paul. And in lane 6 from North St. Paul is Alice Tabe. So
Michael Phelps is a great butterflyer. There is also Reagan Smith from Lakeville, who's an Olympic butterflyer, who has actually some of these swimmers would actually swim meets against when they were a lot younger.
Okay.
But she is a fantastic butterflyer. So next we have 100 freestyle, another fast swim, 4 lengths freestyle as fast as you can. We will have JV and varsity.
The current school record is 50-54 from Katie Selesky in 1997.
That's a long time record, and a 50-54 is fast.
Looks like there'll just be 3 swimmers in this event. Abigail Schiffler from North St. Paul, lane 2. Ash Andres from North St. Paul, and Santrice Finley from North St. Paul. So it's interesting that North St. Paul is only swimming 2 varsity girls against 3 Hastings, yet they're swimming 3 in the JV. Can you explain that? Why they're not putting one of them up in the varsity?
My guess is that these are new swimmers.
Okay.
The swimmer in lane, what is this, lane 4. I wouldn't be surprised if this might be one of her, a first season for these swimmers, and that's intimidating.
Okay.
And might say, hey, let's give them a chance to just get used to swim meets.
That is Ash Andress in lane 4. She's a junior. Abigail Schiffler, she's just a 7th grader.
Yeah.
But she is ahead of the other 2 swimmers at this moment.
Santrice is a freshman as well. It's great to have young swimmers who are getting used to it and learning the technique and all the different ins and outs of swim meets and swim events. I know from experience, even learning a flip turn isn't always easy. I'm a lot older, but...
Well, speaking of young swimmers, even though we say Chloe Arnessa's name a lot, she's only a freshman.
Correct.
And she does now hold the 6 dive and the 11 dive school record.
That's
so congratulations,
awesome.
Chloe. And she's got 3 more years, and even this year, to improve on both those records.
I anticipate she will. She is one determined young lady. Nice job to the varsity 100-yard freestylers, or to the JV. And we'll move on to the varsity.
It was Abigail Schiffler in lane 2 with a 1:39.45. So next up is the varsity. In lane 1 from Hastings, it'll be Caden Butler. Lane 2 from North St. Paul, it'll be Natalie Morrison. Lane 3 from Hastings, it'll be Josie Larson. Lane 4 from North St. Paul, it'll be Sarah Cook. And lane 5 from Hastings, it'll be Ellie Cook. I'm not sure if they're related, but there are a lot of Cooks here in this Midwest Minnesota area. The old St. Paul Suburban Conference is what we used to be. Now it's the Metro East. And it is worth noting that it seems like every varsity sport seems to almost have a different makeup of the teams that are in it. Like swimming is different than football.
Right.
And I think it must have to do with another calculation of how many people do you have, how many kids in your school, et cetera, how good have you been in the past.
Right.
Like Simley wrestling, Hastings wrestling. So it's the 100-yard freestyle. Once again, the record is Katie Selesky at 50-54. So 100 yards, that means it's 4 lengths of the pool. There and back, there and back. In the lead, it's lane 3, Josie Larson, followed by Sarah Cook in lane 4. An update on the score, it's 77-12, Hastings in the lead. Looks like Cook is catching Larson a little bit. And Ellie Cook from Hastings, she's in 3rd. So right now, Hastings will be getting points for 1st and 3rd. So that'd be 6 and 3 points, would be a total of 9.
I don't think she's going to catch Josie. Josie has a really strong finish with a really strong kick. You can see the water churning behind her. A really tight race up in lanes 1 and 2. I always like to see teammates encouraging swimmers.
That is good to see in all sports, especially here swimming. Sometimes you can't see anything, you just hear the yelling, so you start to learn your teammates' voices.
And sometimes it's really hard to hear when your ears are in the water.
So first, second, third are in. It's going to be pretty close for fourth and fifth, but it looks like it'll be Natalie Morrison from North St. Paul getting fourth place, which will give her 2 points for the team. So Hastings is going to get a total of 10 points on that race. North St. Paul should get 6. Once again, it was Josie Larson with a time of 1 minute and .61 tenths. There's no decimals up there, so you got to make sure you're careful how you read it.
We'll move on to the 500, which is, we'll just have a varsity heat, 3 swimmers for the 500 tonight. The 500 is the longest meet, or the longest race in the high school program. 20 lengths, 10 laps.
That is a long ways. I feel like. And we have an update on the football game. Bloomington Jefferson has scored a touchdown. It's 7-6, and they either missed the extra point or they went for 2, and it was not successful. So score is 7-6, and we're in the first quarter, and it's almost over.
So in lane 1, we have Stella Hilgers. In lane 3, Sophia Kovalenko. And in lane 5, Lauren Baudette. Swimmers either love this event or they hate it.
You have to have some good cardio in this event, don't you?
You do have to have some cardio and then some endurance.
I feel like in the Olympics when you watch this, sometimes the lead swimmer sometimes almost laps, or if you will, gets in front of the other swimmers that are towards the end, but hopefully we don't see that tonight.
Right.
But there is some strategy here. Like, do you go out early quick and get in a mental advantage against your opponents, or do you take it casual and then wait till the end to push it? Each swimmer maybe has a different strategy.
Every swimmer has a different strategy, and every race can play out differently. Sometimes it's great to have someone right next to you so you're not in no man's land by yourself. But some swimmers really know their pace regardless of who's around them, and they know how to pace themselves, and their splits are pretty similar. It'll be interesting to see split here for Sophia. It did not come up. It was a 30.81 was her first one. I'm not sure what her second one was.
I can say the school record is 4:59.71. Unfortunately, on this TV, we don't have like the Olympics where they show that blue line as the swimmers are swimming. Line. I love watching that, so you can see if the swimmer is ahead of the Olympic record or world record.
Right. A 4:59 is a fast 500. That record was set in 1997, so that has stood the time. Becky was a fast swimmer, and Sophia's doing a great job. You can see, if the TV shows that 20 lengths is long enough that each swimmer has a counter, so that they have a teammate at the end that holds them a card, and flips to the next one to say how many lengths they have completed. And that is one way for coaches to communicate with their swimmers, because they can tell them to, if I turn your card upside down, go faster. If I shake it back and forth, go faster. Most of the time it's communicating to go faster. So Sophia's splits are at 34 seconds.
So you mentioned the cards. If you look now on TV, although the banner's in the way, you can see a teammate holding the number 9 card. They dip it into the pool so the swimmer can see it. You might have mentioned that already. So that's quite the job. Make sure you don't mess up on a number. I'd hate to have a swimmer think they're on the last one and then they stop.
And in the swimming world, a 500 is not the longest event. So there's an 800, there's 1,000, there's the mile, which is 1650. There's a 1,500. I mean, we're talking in the 60s in a short course pool, 60 lengths.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, and a counter is very important on that one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's one of the strengths of, was it Katie Ledecky? Wasn't she good at the long distance?
Yes, Katie Ledecky is a machine. Just no doubt about it. I believe she still holds the top, maybe even 15 fastest times ever swam of the mile are held by Katie.
Those are some great records. May never be broken.
They may never. But we've all said that before. And
Records are meant to be broken, is what
Records
we
are
say.
meant to be broken.
So you mentioned some of the Hastings girls here also play softball. So I know in high school sports there's a lot of multi-sport athletes, which really comes in handy, I think, because you have cardiovascular and your strengthening is good for all season long, no matter what sport you're playing.
It is. Swimming is one of those unique sports that you are limited in your ability to breathe. And so there's, yes, other things definitely will help your cardio and your strength, but swimmers just need to be in the water. So if you are going to pursue and excel at swimming, you most likely swim year-round.
Okay.
Not always, but most likely, because you simply need to be in the water and have that conditioning of your lungs when you can't breathe, which is a significant amount of the time.
Right. That reminds me, when I grew up, I had a swimming pool, thank you, Mom and Dad, but I remember trying to stay underwater and hold my breath as long as I could to try to build that stamina, if you will, underwater.
Absolutely.
And then I would even do the classic, try to swim to the end and back before coming out of the water.
Absolutely.
Keep challenging yourself.
Which is an incredible challenge.
So that horn, I believe, means that's the lead swimmer is on their last I don't want to say lap,
50.
but last 50.
Yep.
So
usually
it's not called a lap. A bell,
Well,
okay.
it could be the last lap, last 2 lengths.
Right.
So Sophia is at a 5:06. So she'll probably be right about 5:40.
A 5:40, so that's about 40 seconds behind the school record. Still really good, probably better than I could do.
Pete, I can guarantee it's better than you could do. She might have just snuck under 5:40. It could have been a 5:39. We'll have to see when it comes up. But her teammates are rocking it in lanes 1 and 5. It is a long race.
It is, and because there's only 3 swimmers and they're all from Hastings,
they're going
to get all the points as long as they finish and don't get disqualified. They'll get 13 total points in this race.
And in fact, a 5:39.13. I'm not sure that Sophia would say that is her favorite race. There are kids that do say the 500 is their favorite. She obviously does a really great job swimming it.
So I'm seeing this board with 2 red squares. Is that what they put in when you're on your final one?
Yes, that is at 19.
I like that. There's no confusion of the brain seeing a number, thinking it was a 13 and a 15.
There is
I
no
like
confusion.
That. Leave no doubt, as John Voight would say in Varsity Blues.
There is no doubt. And Lauren finishes up with a strong 25 towards home.
So good job to the 3 ladies there. As you mentioned, Sophia Kovalenko came in with a 5:39.13, followed by Stella Hilgers with a 6:38.92, and then Lauren Baudet with a 6:59.89. Next up will be the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay.
This is a fun relay because it's really fast. Everyone's a 50 as fast as you can down and back. You know, the exchange is really important in relays because obviously there's not a baton, there's no one passing. So the rule is that the swimmer in the water's hands must touch the wall before the swimmer on the block's toes leave the blocks. But of course the timing of that is crucial because a body could be forward in motion and the toes still touching as the hands are coming in. So the relay exchanges are really crucial.
Okay, so it's a combination of not only swimming but timing your dive,
timing.
basically.
Yep. So Hastings up in lane 1, Saltzman, Arness, Demlo, and Hilgers. North St. Paul, Anders, Amborn, Schiffler, and Finley. For Hastings in lane 3, Stewart, Birkin, Jenkins, and Arness. For North St. Paul, Clem, Johnson, Tabé, and Morrison. Hastings in lane 5, Olson, Larson, Hall, and Ritter. And in Hastings lane 6, Burks, Kovalenko, Green, and Meyer.
So right now it's lane 3, Hastings, slightly ahead of lane 1. That's Birkin just ahead of Chloe Arness.
Clara Birkin has really long arms.
Speaking of our nest, Chloe's sister, Kira, will be also, she's in lane 3. She'll be the last person, so sisters sort of competing against each other here.
Lauren Jenkins in the pool for Hastings in lane 3. This is Izzy Green for Hastings in lane 6. And Mari Hall, I believe, is that, Mari Hall for Hastings in lane 5. And there's Kira Arnes in lane 3. Stella Hilgers up in lane 1.
So final swimmers in for Hastings,
Yep.
lane 1 and 3. I believe North St. Paul's on their 3rd swimmer in lane 2.
And I think final swimmer for Hastings in lane 4.
So the first
Yes.
team is in. It's lane 3, Hastings.
Then lane 2 or lane 1 for Hastings. And here's lane 6 for Hastings.
So it looks like a time of 1:47.95 in lane 3 was the best time. So that was just 11 seconds behind the school record. Not too bad.
It's a fast swim.
Lane 2, it was 1:55.36. So Hastings coming in first and second. And it was lane 6, also Hastings, came in 3rd place. That was Burks, Green, Kovalenko, and Meyer with a time of 2:01.15. Lane 5 was also Hastings in 4th place. Olson, Hall, Larson, and Ritter with a time of 2:19.33. And in 5th place is lane 4, that's North St. Paul, Clem, Johnson, Taub, and Morrison. And then in 6th place, North St. Paul, Andres, Schiffler, Amborn, and Finley. So that is a relay, so only the first 3 teams get points. So Hastings is going to get all 14 of those points. We'll get a total score tally here in a second once they put it on the board, because that was event number 18. Looks like there's 3 varsity events left. Yes.
Yes.
2
Yep.
JVs, which won't count for the score.
So this is the JV 100 backstroke. Swimmers for backstroke start in the water. They put their feet on the wall, their hands on a special bar that's designed for backstroke starts. They pull themselves up and arch their backs and kind of dive in.
I feel like they want to try to dive out as far as they can without hitting the water.
As far as they can.
So just the total score right now is 87-30 Hastings.
In lane 1 is Liliana Burks. In lane 3 is Fiona Olson. And in lane 5 is Eliana Latch. These are all Hastings swimmers. I mentioned earlier the rules swimming. Backstroke has some very specific rules when it comes to the wall. And when a swimmer can turn on their front, do 1 stroke, and then they can do their flip turn.
So Liliana had a 36-1 first
50.
First 50, thank you.
46-42, first 50 for Eliana Latch in lane 5.
In this 100-yard backstroke, the first 50, could we call that the split time?
Yes, that is a split, yep.
And the record is 56-16. Set by Brianna Carey in 2014. That's the school record. She also holds the pool record at 57-10 in 2012. So Liliana Burks came in with a total of 1 minute, 15 seconds, and 64 tenths, coming in first place. Looks like it'll be Elena Latch in lane 5 coming in second. Her score, her second split was 50-80 for a total of, let's see if they get it up there. They didn't quite follow my voice prompt.
They did
there
not.
It is, 137.22. And in third place, lane 3, is Fiona Olson. We'll give you the total time as soon as they put that up. I didn't see her second split.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you did.
She did not. She might not have hit the wall.
Okay. So unfortunately, that's a DQ.
Well, no, she might not have. I think she might have gotten the time.
The end
but-
wall didn't
right,
trigger the
right,
time.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The timing pad might not have.
So that's lane. Looks like
So, for
the
instance,
scores are going to have to run it over. There we go. The scores walking
Yep.
over. Thank you again to the scores. Timers. So we'll give you her time here in a second once it's relayed and put up on the board.
it probably will not get up on the board because that's just connected to the
so
timing
the-
pads
I
in the
got you.
water. So my guess is it's about a 145,
Okay.
maybe a 150. I didn't totally watch.
Okay. Either way, Hastings will get, once again, all 14 points.
Well, that was JV, so
Oh, that was JV. There'll be no
it
points
doesn't
there.
score, but it's a great experience for the JV swimmers.
Right.
And now we'll have 5 swimmers in the varsity 100 back. Maddie Ritter from Hastings in lane 1, Ella Amborn from North St. Paul in lane 2, Ashton Stewart from Hastings in lane 3, Sydney Hoffman in lane 4 from North St. Paul, and Lauren Jenkins in lane 5 from Hastings.
Lane 1, Maddie Ritter. Lane 2, Ellen Amborn. Lane 3, Ashton Stewart. Lane 4.
Right now, all Hastings girls looks
They're
pretty
very
even.
tight.
Let's see on the turn here who does better.
Again, underwaters are so crucial. Lauren had a really great underwater on that turn and just came up a little bit ahead of Ashton.
So we're coming down to the 50, see what their split time is. I saw
Their
them turn
butts
right
were
before
up
the
at
wall.
about the same time.
Okay. It was a 33.04 and a 33.26,
Nice,
so
that's
real
really
close splits.
close.
Well, up in lane 1, it was a 36.84 split for Maddie Ritter.
Strong underwaters, they're really close.
So they're
And
on
they
the,
have no idea how close they are because they can't see each other.
and you don't really want to look because it will slow you
Nope,
down.
it will slow you down.
And that could be the difference in winning or losing, or first or second or third.
And I still don't know who got it.
To me, it looked like Ashton in lane 3, but we'll see on the official time. So they have,
That is goofy.
right now they have Ashton in first at 107.79, but let's wait and see till they adjust. Because Lauren's score is not in there yet.
Lauren did not come in fourth, so something
Nope.
is a little screwy with the timing.
And I don't think she came in 116 either. It should be 107 or 108, something.
They'll figure that one out.
Yep. Sometimes
Yeah, that's
scoreboard and the timers. We've had issues here.
right. Water doesn't always, water can be kind of hard on electrical equipment.
Right. Yeah. So we don't know really the official scores there, but we know the total team score is 87-30. And again, only 3 scores will count for the team score. So if the score goes to 101, then we know that Hastings got all 3 of them,
Right.
which I think they did.
They did. Hastings was 1, 2, 3. I just don't know which ones their times and the.
Right.
They're conferring officials and timers, trying
Just
to figure
a little
out.
update on the football score. Sorry about that.
No.
It's still 7-6. They're in the second quarter. About 5 minutes left. Hastings still up 7-6 over Bloomington Jefferson.
We've kind of touched on the Olympics a couple times in swimming.
You're going to
If
tell
you
me about
are-
when you competed?
No, when you swimming in the Olympics is an Olympic length pool, which is 50 meters, not 25
Okay.
yards. So, there's a difference between what we call long course, which is the 50 meters, and short course, which is this 25 yards.
Okay.
We're the only country in the world that has short course
Ah.
at 25 yards.
That tells me you need to be better at turning than because you do more turns than you do in
Right.
an Olympic pool.
Sometimes that's an advantage, sometimes it's
Right.
not. This is the 100 breaststroke. It is the JV heat. Clara Birkin in lane 1, Kira Arness in lane 3, and Lila Saltzman in lane 5. They're all Hastings swimmers that usually swim a varsity event, but tonight they are
Mixing it up.
in the JV mixing it up.
I think that's good, though, for the swimmers for Hastings that are
Right,
swimming varsity. Give them a little
absolutely.
chance to compete A little more pressure, see how they handle it.
Right. And maybe try an event that is not their favorite.
Right.
I do think this might be Clara Birkin's favorite event up in lane 1. She's a great breaststroker. But Kira and Lila are they're no slouches in breaststroke either. And actually it looks like Kira has pulled ahead of Clara. Again, breaststroke is a tough. You pull, breathe, kick, glide, and the timing of that. And, you know, the way that a breaststroke, each swimmer has a very unique style and way of swimming.
Typically speaking, though, do they try to teach you like the same pattern?
Well, the pull, breathe, kick, glide is the same, but how someone's body positions in the water, it's very easy to have your feet sink, and so then you're kind of planing through the water. You want to keep your hips and your feet up near the surface.
Okay.
But on the pull, you basically are slamming the brakes on as your body is brought out of your upper body is brought out of the water.
Okay. Just results of that. Kira Arness was in first, Clara Birkin second, and Lila Salzman third. Now we're in the varsity. Lane 1, it'll be Emma Leonard from Hastings. Lane 3, Josie Larson from Hastings. Lane 4, Autumn Clem from North St. Paul. And lane 5, Izzy Green from Hastings. So I noticed they skipped lane 2 here and they kept lane 1.
Right.
I know in the Olympics, usually they try to keep the outer lanes without a swimmer because the waves bouncing back or something, but.
Right, so in a dual meet, Hastings is always going to be 135, North St. Paul. So in one sense, could you move them over? Probably you could, but it's just kind of how the lineup works. Josie's a little bit ahead in lane 3. Izzy is right there as well with Emma Leonard in lane 1 and Autumn Clem for the North St. Paul Polars in lane 4.
I do see a total score of 87-40. It was 87-30 before that, so I'm not sure. I think with that score malfunction, I think that pushed
score
the
might not be
score.
correct, as Izzy is catching up to Josie, but I think Josie will come in first, right about, my guess is right about 119.
119, and the school record was 106.80 by Ava McNamara.
Who graduated
in 2021.
just a year ago.
Okay. So your record still holds, Ava. Unless somebody broke it earlier in the season.
Ava is a fantastic breaststroker, and I have a feeling that record could be there for a bit.
Okay. Just want to give you a little update on the Hastings Raiders football. Unfortunately, Bloomington has scored a touchdown, and they went for 2, and they got it. So it's now 14-7. We're in the second quarter, 4.5 minutes left.
And we are to the last race of the night. Excuse me. It's the 400 freestyle relay. So each swimmer, 4 swimmers, swim 4 lengths, a 100 of freestyle. Sometimes in a dual meet, they can be so close that it really does come down to this last event. This last event will not determine the meet tonight as the overall winner, but they're exciting, and I like relays as teammates are cheering for each other. Everyone's working together, swimming for more than just themselves.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I hate to keep doing the Michael Phelps thing, but if I remember right, it was his relay when he was not the last racer, but he was third, and his teammate finished, and that gave him the all-time Olympic record medal count, I believe. And I don't even think they were really I think Australia was supposed to maybe win that, but him and his teammates stepped up and they won that one.
Michael Phelps has been involved in a couple very, very, very close relays that they did not actually on paper were not favored to win. And Jason Lezak actually touched the wall for the U.S. in the most famous one, beating out France by about a gnat.
Right.
Hardly a fingernail length. And no one knew until it came up on the board.
I remember watching that. I was in Texas. And here we go. We're off on our last event of the night.
We have lanes of Hastings swimmers and 1 lane of North St. Paul. Up in lane 1, we have Lauren, Mary, Carly, and Sophia. In lane 2 for Hastings, Stella Hilgers, Josie Larson, Peyton Coombs, and Kira Arness. In lane 4 for North St. Paul, Siri Johnson, Alice Tabe, Sarah Cook, and Sydney Hoffman. In lane 5 for Hastings, Ellie Cook, Liliana Burks, Ileana Latch, and Izzy Green. And in lane 6 for Hastings, Emma Leonard, Mari Hall, Kaden Butler, and Lily Meyer. It looks like everyone's kind of holding together here. Emma Leonard in lane 6 has the lead for Hastings. The second swimmer is up on the blocks, and again, you can look as closely as the fingers of the swimmer in the water touch the wall and the toes of the swimmer on the blocks leave. And the officials do watch very closely.
I guess it's better to err on the side of caution, because if you go too early, the event is over for you.
You have disqualified your team. It looks like Mari Hall in lane 6 is still a little bit ahead, but Josie Larson is catching her in lane 3.
So that means we're on swimmer number 2 of this 4-person relay. And they each do 100, so there and back twice.
Right, and unfortunately, we've lost this pair of goggles in lane 5, which is always a terrible feeling. Liliana Burks is swimming with her goggles on her nose, which is really unfortunate, but she's doing a great job.
And you really don't want to take time to adjust, do you?
No.
You'll screw up your... So with the goggles, does it help? Do they use chlorine nowadays, or they have some better?
Yes, it is chlorine. Sometimes people, it doesn't bother, everyone, sometimes it really bothers some and doesn't bother others, but it's also pretty uncomfortable to have a pair of tight goggles on your nose.
So it looks like we're on the 3rd swimmer in lane 5. That's Elena Latch. She's just finishing her first split, if you will, or halfway there. So there's some strategy here in this. You don't necessarily always put your 4 fastest swimmers in one relay per se.
It kind of depends on the meet. If the coaches said this is going to be a close meet, yes, you're going to put your 4 fastest.
Okay.
Or if you might say, yes, I'll put my 4 fastest, I'll make sure we win. Or, hey, we could get 1 and 2 if I just change out 1 and swap.
Right.
So yeah, coaches are always mindful of that when they think about the lineup and who to put together.
So diving in the water, lane 1, I believe, was the final swimmer, Sofia Kovalenko.
Yep, that's Sofia Kovalenko, and final swimmer for lane 6 is Lily Meyer.
Lily was in Farmington last year. Now she's back in Hastings.
I'm sure Hastings is glad to have her back. It looks like lane 3 for Hastings is finishing up here. That is Kira Arness coming into the wall. So lane 3.
Looks like they had a final time of about 4:33.
Just about 4 minutes. I think that it was hold as their time. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Then we're done up in lane 1 for Hastings. Coming in here, the last swimmers for lane 5 for Hastings. Lane I believe lane 4, North St. Paul, might out-touch.
Oh, it's going to be close
It
there.
was close.
We'll see. Lily had a final split of 37-44. So it looks like you said, just over 4 minutes. Hastings in first place, lane 3, with a score of 4 minutes and 51 tenths. In second place, it was North St. Paul in lane 4 with time of 4 minutes, 30 seconds and 58 tenths. Third place was Hastings, lane 1, 4 minutes, 50 seconds, 26 tenths. And in fourth place was lane 5. That's also Hastings at 5 minutes, 6
I think
tenths.
something got a little screwy there
Yeah, I
again
think
with
it
the
did.
timing, but that's okay.
And it looks like lane 5 was
Right.
6th at 5:06.81. I had the score being about 101 to 30 before that, but I think the scoreboard malfunctions have screwed up the home and guest
they
score.
have too.
So I'm not sure they're going to announce the final score
They
or put
will,
it
and
up
I
correctly.
believe they will announce it. Hastings, no doubt, has won this dual meet. The final score
Yeah, they
yet to be determined.
We don't know the final score, but they definitely won mathematically. It wasn't even possible for North St. Paul to win in the
Correct.
last event. So I can say that Hastings will improve their record to 3-1, and North St. Paul unfortunately falls to 0-4. Pretty soon we'll get the upcoming schedule for Hastings. At the moment, see if I can give you a football score update. The score is still 14-7. Just had the 2-minute warning in the first half, so still enough time left for the Raiders playing at Bloomington Jefferson to come back and tie this game or win it.
Lots of time left.
Oh yeah, lots of time. So just want to thank everybody for watching here on HCTV. This was Hastings Swimming and Diving. I'm just going to remind you the upcoming schedule next week right here at the Hastings Middle School. It's the girls swimming and diving against Matamidi. And then next Friday, it's homecoming, Hastings Raiders versus Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. Make sure you go out for that one. That's a big one. And then October 3rd, the following Tuesday, it's the doubleheader versus South St. Paul in soccer, the boys and the girls. I don't know which one will go first, but either way, it's a 2-for-1 ticket, so head on out to watch some soccer. I'll also give you our credits. Want to thank producer Hunter Pinky, director Ian Andrusak, our announcers, myself, Peter Heyman, and Julie Urban. Julie, thank you very much for coming along and helping. Our camera operators are Max Slocum and Will Celine. And once again, graphics are done by Mr. Ian Andrusak. So we don't know the official final score, and I don't think we're going to get it. But either way, Hastings Raiders win tonight. They beat North St. Paul. And we'll see you next week for more Hastings swimming diving action. I'm Peter Heyman on HCTV.